In this video, I'm going to show you how to use GeometryScript in UE 5.0 to set up a sort of live preview system for subdivision of a sort of base mesh into a subdivided mesh. So here I've got a sort of cube and the subdivided version of that cube, but they are linked so that if I go into the cube here, and I'll use polydeform tool and just make some changes, and then hit accept, you see that the subdivided version is going to live update based on that accept. So this was done with GeometryScript, and I'm going to show you how to set up that system. So let's just get these out of the scene here. So the first thing we're going to do is just create our sort of standard generated dynamic mesh actor. We'll call it BP SubD. We're going to go in there and edit it, and we'll jump to the event graph, and we'll do rebuild generated mesh. So basically here, I'm going to set this up a little bit differently than I have before. So the first thing I'm going to do is add an actor variable. Oh, sorry, we're going to call that target actor and set the type here to be actor. So I'm going to use an actor instead of the static mesh to copy from, because I want to copy from that other actor in the level. So we'll do a get convert to validated. Now I'm not going to use this target mesh here, and you'll see why in a second. So you can also get the same mesh by doing get dynamic mesh, and that'll get it from the component. So if it's valid, I'm going to grab that mesh, and then I'm going to do a copy mesh from component, which I have used in a few other scripts. So this will just figure out, it'll use the root component. Oh, sorry, we have to get the root component of the actor, and we'll copy the mesh from that. So that'll work with a static mesh, a dynamic mesh actor, and a volume. Volume is actually a nice way to do this. Maybe I'll demo that at the end if I remember. Okay, so we've got our mesh though, and then we're going to do catmull clark SubD, and we'll just add a subdivisions parameter. Maybe just set the range so I can drag it back and forth without freezing the editor by setting it to 1,000 subdivisions. And there we go. So if we compile that, if we go make a box in the level, and then we drag in one of these objects, it has no mesh right now because it doesn't know which actor to use. So we can scroll down to, there it is, target actor. We click this eyedropper, and we can go over here and click directly on that actor in the level, and then we turn up the subdivision levels, and there. So this is basically working now. But if I go over here and edit this one, right, it doesn't live update this one. I have to move it around to have something happen because it doesn't know to recompute. It doesn't know when this other mesh has changed. So I'm just going to undo those changes. So we have to do a little bit more to make this SubD actor auto update. So I'm going to right click again and do a blueprint interface. We're going to go BPI EditorTick, and then we're going to edit that. And the new function name is highlighted here. We're going to call the function EditorTick and mark it here as call an editor. This is the sort of magic name that's going to make things work, so you have to call it EditorTick. We'll compile that, we'll save it. Okay, now we're going to go back to our SubD blueprint and go to class settings and do add here and type in EditorTick. We want to implement the interface here. Under implemented interfaces, we want BPI EditorTick that we just created. So we'll set that there and compile again. So now then we have to jump to our construction script. And there's sorry, I keep forgetting this function name. I'm just going to jump to one I already made to look it up. Set timer by function name. So we're going to do set timer by function name. The function name is that EditorTick. We just, that's the function from the interface we just added. We're going to set the time here. I'm going to put it to 0.25. That's so it'll run every quarter second. It will run that EditorTick function. And then we go back to our event graph and right click and type EditorTick. Now you want to make sure you do the add event version because there's also going to be several other of that in the list there. So we've got our event EditorTick, and we're just going to wire that into this same regenerate graph. So what that basically means is when that EditorTick runs, it's going to rebuild the mesh. So now if I go back in here and I do some editing on this one and hit accept, the other one's going to auto-update, because basically it's running every quarter second. It's rebuilding itself. Now that sounds a little bad. It's not the most efficient thing in the world to have happening all the time. So one thing you can do, you see it's running right now, so every quarter second that's firing, is we could add a Boolean, enable live SubD, we'll call it, and we can just get that and do a branch. And so if it's, we'll only do that if it's true. So now it's going to default to false. So now if we do a quick, edit on this one, it's not going to live update. But if we go down and find it, it moves it down in the settings when we add that EditorTick. There it is. Oh, we didn't make it public. So now you see, as soon as I toggle that on, I moved it so it updated. So now if we go back in here and move that again, it's going to do its live updates. And we can turn it off and on with that checkbox. And like I mentioned before, I'll just show quick, you can also do this on volume. So if we make a volume here, and we set that volume as the target, we could even now go put this inside. We could do probably a better job of aligning them. And then if we do poly editing, you can actually see through. So if you line them up, it'll be basically like the kind of SubD interface you might be familiar with in other tools. Volumes have some shape limits, so they can't actually quite do as much as meshes. So this kind of just a little neat thing. But you probably want to actually do it based off the meshes. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching.